Now look at what this sicko says and puts in writing for whatever he's an editor to. I can't even pronounce these names here, but he says, the day is not far off when bullets will be fired into what he called Trump's hollow head to avenge the blood of the martyr. And that so-called martyr he's referring to is Qasem Soleimani.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Well, welcome to the MC Too Tall Show. I, of course, am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host, MC Too Tall. And let me tell you something, buddy boy. I will crush and defeat all my enemies, all my mortal foes, foreign and domestic. Now let's get into this story. So the editor-in-chief of an Iranian newspaper, who also happens to be a very close associate with the Ayatollah of Iran, is out there making death threats to the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Now, you could expect that from Iran. Most of these people in Iran, these anti-American scum that are running the country of Iran and running the press in Iran, they hate Donald Trump. They want to see him dead. They want to avenge the death of that cockroach, Qasem Soleimani. And of course, that's just stuff that comes with the territory. They killed our terrorist buddy, so now we want him dead. That's their shtick. Okay? Now, here's where the problem lies, though. There are sickos living here in the United States who aren't even Islamic that would be okay. They would be A-okay if somebody came from Iran and God in holy heaven forbid this, did in the President of the United States. There are people who live in the United States of America who aren't even Iranian or even Islamic that would be okay with somebody coming from a foreign country to take the life of the President of the United States. And let me tell you something, okay? You know my feelings about Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Especially Barack Obama and Joe Biden, because they actually served as President of the United States. Let's say they were still in office. Either one of these two men was still in office. I'll say Joe Biden, because he's the most recent Democrat to serve as president. He's walking down the street. I'm walking across the street. Sure, I'm gonna say F you, Joe Biden, and you screwed up this country. You're an asshole, and this and that. I'm gonna use my First Amendment right to curse the shit out of him for ruining the country. But let's say some Iranian runs up and tries to pull out a piece and put a cap at Joe Biden. I'm going to wrestle that Iranian motherfucker to the ground, beat his ass, and kick the gun away from him. Hopefully, by then, there's freaking cops to arrest him. That Joe Biden may be an asshole, but he's our asshole, is what I'm saying. But there are people that will root for foreigners to take the life of Donald Trump. There are people who live in the United States of America who are technically, on paper, U.S. citizens that would be okay with foreigners taking the life of Donald Trump. And that is the climate that we are in. That is the anti-Trump sentiment that's out there, that is so, the TDS, the Trump Derangement Syndrome, as they call it. It's so freaking deep embedded into the skulls of these maniacs, these sickos, that they would back the foreign terrorist and root for the foreign terrorist against the President of the United States. A president who's trying to make their stupid ass safe to walk around in these streets. These people actually believe that if it means Donald Trump not being president anymore, not being the leader of this country anymore, they'll be okay with it no matter what it is. Even if it means a small band of terrorists going into the White House, taking over the White House, taking out the president, possibly the vice president too, holding the entire White House staff hostage, flying the Ayatollah from Iran all the way into the White House to announce, I am your leader now, we are all under Sharia law. They'd be okay with that as long as Donald Trump's not president anymore. And a bonus to them if Donald Trump's not alive anymore. So-called Americans have this sentiment. And there's something wrong with that. These people are sickos. I blame the media for that. For agreeing to do this kind of, this freaking mental acrobats with the American public. But here we are. Here we are, and this is what's happening, folks. This is the sentiment of people who are technically, on paper, American citizens. Thankfully, it's a sick minority, but it's pretty scary that anybody living in America, born and raised as American, would think this way about the President of the United States. You could disagree with the President of the United States. You could not like his policies. You could even not like the way he talks at a campaign rally. But to want him out of office by any means necessary, even if it means a foreign country take over and impose their rules and regulations, as long as it means that he's not the leader of the country anymore, that's just sick. That is just sick. And it's those people that need to be curbed. It's those people that need to be arrested when they act upon such sentiment. When they act upon it. You could have that, and as bad as that opinion is, you could only counteract when they act upon it. You could only stop them as they're acting upon it and counter-moving that by arresting these people or neutralizing them, as they did with Mr. Crooks back in July. But this is the sentiment that exists in the minds of some of these sickos here in our own country, the United States of America. You have Iranian sympathists, but not for people who happen to be Iranian or whatever, Iranian citizens. If they cared about the Iranian people, they wouldn't feel that way. These are people who are on the side of the mullahs, or mullahs, whatever. The Ayatollah, this sick in the head editor-in-chief of this Iranian publication that happens to be an advisor of the Ayatollah. These people would choose the Ayatollah over the President of the United States. To the point where if this man imposes Sharia law, to take over the country and impose Sharia law, they'd be rooting for it. They'd be all for it. Well, at least Donald Trump's not our president. He's Hitler. Hitler. And so for them not to have their Hitler, they'd be okay with their sister getting raped in the streets at night. And instead of reporting it to the police and getting the rapist arrested, they get pressured by their neighbors to stone their own sisters to death for bringing shame to the family name. Because, in these cultures, if an innocent woman is raped, it's the victim's fault, not the rapist's fault. Because supposedly the victim had to have done something to seduce their rapist. And that's the mindset of these cultures. And you want to bring that here? You want to be okay with somebody who is of that culture threatening the life of the President of the United States, who's doing nothing more than trying to make America safe from terrorists like that, from drug cartels that are poisoning our youth, from these gangbangers who come into the country raping and killing our women and children. So that means if more of these rapes happen and the Ayatollah were to be the head of this country, if these women survive these rapes, they are to be killed by the people who are supposed to have their side and have their back, and make motion to get their rapists arrested, but will instead kill them to save face for the family name or the community. How sick is that? How sick are you if you're okay with a foreigner killing the President of the United States? And I don't believe these people should have a platform. I mean, I'm against censorship. Censorship is an outrage. But when you're talking about ending the life of the president, you're sick. Now, people from foreign countries could say what they want, say what they will, what have you. I think it's messed up that they say these things. But if you're in America backing that up, you should be deported. You should be deported to the country of the person you're supporting, spouting off that dangerous rhetoric that threatens the life of the president. I don't care who the president is. Like I said, I don't like Obama. I don't like Joe Biden. But somebody threatens them, I'm gonna have a say in the matter and curse the shit out of them. And heaven forbid, if I'm in a situation where I'm in the same vicinity as one of these Democratic former presidents, and a foreigner is trying to end their life, I'm going to do what I can to protect the life of that former president, even if it is a Democrat. I might throw in a few extra punches if they're going after Trump. But either way, the sentiment is the same. You protect your president. I don't care if you're a soldier or a civilian. You do what's in your power to keep the President of the United States protected from foreign enemies. And it's ungodly to be okay with these monsters and their dangerous rhetoric about ending the life of the President of the United States. It's completely ungodly. And this concludes this episode of the MC Too Tall Show. That is my opinion on the matter. Respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Follow and share this wonderful content. Stay strong. Keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Now you be good now.